All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a story that has all the classic Silicon Valley stuff. A brilliant young founder, a revolutionary idea, and just a staggering amount of money. But hold on, this is not just another app. This is about a 24-year-old who's building an AI dream team to solve one of the biggest challenges in artificial intelligence, and she's convincing the world's best minds to come along for the ride.
So it really all kicks off with this wild quote from Ken Ono, one of the most cited mathematicians on the entire planet. And look, this isn't just some throwaway line. It's a declaration. It's the sound of a world-renowned academic deciding that the future isn't in the lecture hall anymore, it's in a startup. And that begs a pretty big question.
Yeah, this is it. Why on earth would someone at the absolute peak of their career, someone with the job security of tenure for life, just give it all up? To really get that, you gotta understand the two completely different worlds he was choosing between.
And you can see the choice laid out right here. On one side, you've got the ivory tower. Tenure, security, tradition, a lifetime of work, all safe and sound. And on the other side, the startup. You get equity, sure, but also a ton of risk and the chance to be part of a genuine revolution. The fact that Ono took that leap tells you everything you need to know about where the real action is happening today. And it all began with one incredibly powerful insight.
This is where the founder, Carina Hong, comes into the picture. At just 24 years old, she spotted this fundamental flaw, this massive hole in the AI landscape, an insight so powerful it would be valued at $64 million in just a matter of months.
And just look at how fast this all happened. It's honestly kind of nuts. In the fall of 2024, she's still a PhD student at Stanford. By March of 2025, she's dropped out and founded Axiom Math. And before the year is even over, bam, she's locked in a massive seed round. So what was this game-changing idea? It all comes down to something called the reasoning gap. Hong basically realized that even the most advanced AI models, the ones that can write amazing poetry and code, they completely fall apart when you ask them to do pure, abstract mathematical logic. They're great at mimicking language, but they can't truly reason the way a mathematician does. And that weakness, that was her opportunity.
So her mission wasn't just to make AI a little bit better at math. No way. It was to build a completely new kind of AI, an AI mathematician, a system that doesn't just find an answer, but actually generates a rigorous, verifiable proof and can even check its own work. This is basically the holy grail for taking AI from just a cool chat tool to a genuine scientific revolution.
And this number, this is the proof that investors totally bought into that vision. $64 million in a seed round. That is an almost unheard of amount of money, and it gave Hong the rocket fuel she needed to go out and start putting together her dream team.
So, you've got the vision, you've got this massive war chest. What happens next? Well, you become a magnet for some of the most sought-after minds in the entire field of artificial intelligence.
Just take a look at the talent density here. It's wild. Axiom, with just 17 employees, has a concentration of elite, top-tier researchers that absolutely dwarfs a typical startup. An investor literally called it the densest top-tier team he had ever seen. So, where did all this talent come from?
Get this, they came directly from Meta. That's right, Hong managed to poach a core group of researchers from the legendary FAIR Lab. These are the very people who built groundbreaking models like Llama. So the big question is, how in the world did she pull that off?
And this table really lays it all out. At Meta, sure, you get a massive salary, but you're working on these really broad corporate AGI ambitions. Over at Axiom, the focus is razor sharp, a math-first foundation. The culture shifts from this huge, large-scale research environment to intimate weekly math teas. And crucially, the incentive changes from just a high salary to meaningful equity, a real stake in the revolution.
This quote from one of those researchers who made the jump, it just says it all. They weren't just looking for another job, they were looking for a mission. They felt like they were just putting band-aids on existing models. They wanted to build something fundamentally new, from the ground up.
So, when you put this all together, what's the secret sauce? What is this attraction formula that Carina Hong used to make Axiom so irresistible?
It really boils down to these three key things. First, you need a vision that truly resonates with top researchers. Second, you have to provide the resources to let them do their best work without any restrictions. And third, you need the founder herself to have that personal charisma and credibility. Let's dig into each one.
So, the vision wasn't just talk. This slide shows exactly why it resonated. Axiom's early prototype was already outperforming the established giants like Claude on proof generation. This is hard data. For a researcher, seeing this kind of result is everything. It shows you that you're not joining a dream. You're joining a team that's already winning.
And she backed all that up with the resources and charisma. That funding went directly to hiring talent. She put in place things like no meeting weeks to protect that deep, focused work, which is a dream for any researcher. Her background as a Rhodes Scholar gave her instant credibility, and her bold vision even got her dubbed the Elon Musk of mathematics online.
But the ultimate proof of her formula, the single biggest validation, was convincing her own mentor to take that leap of faith. I mean, getting Ken Ono on board wasn't just another hire. It was a statement to the entire world.
And here's how Ono himself put it. For him, this move wasn't about abandoning his field. It was the next logical step. He saw Axiom as the actual future of mathematics itself, and he just knew he had to be a part of it.
So what does this whole story signal for the future? Because it's more than just one successful startup. It's a symptom of a massive shift in the landscape of science and technology.
Axiom's rise is happening right in the middle of a fierce AI talent war. We're seeing attrition at major labs like Meta's climbing, salaries for top researchers are just skyrocketing, and more of these small, focused startups are outmaneuvering the giants. This is creating a powerful pull of talent, not just from big tech, but straight out of academia.
Which leads us to this really fascinating question. For centuries, universities were the undisputed centers of fundamental research. But is that changing? Are these nimble, well-funded startups like Axiom becoming the new hubs for foundational breakthroughs? It's a big deal when the primary engine of discovery shifts from public institutions to private, equity-driven companies.
At the end of the day, the story of Axiom Math is a powerful reminder of a timeless Silicon Valley truth. A clear, compelling vision, backed by resources and executed by a determined founder, can still achieve the impossible. It can move mountains of capital, and as we've seen, it can even move mentors.
And this brings us to the final and maybe the most important question posed by Carina Hong herself. As this AI mathematician starts to become a reality, is the goal to replace human thinkers? Or is it to build a tool that extends our own intellectual frontiers, allowing us to solve problems we could never have even conceived of on our own? That's the question Axiom and all of us will have to answer.